Streaming audio, obviously you're seeing that, and then using the text-to-speech engine. So you hear Sing or Samantha actually talking to you, and you can use the text-to-speach engine to present any information that you want. So the guys from Proximity who are sitting back here, who actually won our hack last year, they use the text-to-speech engine to present location-based deals inside of the vehicle. So as you're driving around, you can ask for deals in your area. Anyway, so those are some of the big commands, and you'll see that all in the API suite, what you can actually access from the device. But for Android, you connect over Bluetooth. A lot of that's taken care of with our SDK. On iPhone, you connect over USB. I know that's a hassle for debugging, but hopefully the SDK is simple enough that you guys don't have to do too much debugging on our side. As part of the hack, you'll receive a copy of the SDK. You do need to sign a license agreement for the SDK, and if you want to be considered for the prize, the trip to CES, you'll have to sign a waiver as well. But they're fairly straightforward documents. Hopefully they'll explain it. This is an example of some of the in-vehicle HMI. This is actually Roximity's app, so you can actually ask for restaurants, bars, clubs, men's clothing. Effectively, this is an example of what happens when you press the voice button on some of our displays. Here's some of the buttons that they have access to. Listing deal categories, restaurant, bars, all of that sort of displayed inside of the car. Here's another shot using the 4-inch display inside of our vehicles. Here's a deal for Hungry Howie's Pizza. Double topper, it looks like, for $7.99 for a sale. So technical details. I think this is where we get into technical details. Wow. All right. So the SDK, effectively, you will drop in what we call it's a sync proxy object. You'll instantiate that object, and that will take care of your connection from your mobile app to the sync heading. So for iPhone, it'll handle and return to you straight when you connect to the USB. If you're developing an Android app, it'll give you access over Bluetooth. So all that's taken care of when you instantiate your object. Once you have that object, you're notified via this on-proxy open message. That's going to handle a bunch of stuff for you. But the minute you select your application inside of the vehicle, you will get a notification that says you are effectively in full, meaning the user inside of the car has selected your application. And once that happens, you have full access or control using the APIs inside of the vehicle. So it's an opt-in system, meaning the user has to select your application in the car, and then you can actually send or issue requests with the API. So this is an example of just a bounce diagram. All of the messages, they're all encapsulated, but they are JSON messages. You don't have to construct them. The API, the libraries do that for you. So you'll just be able to call the functions, and they'll execute on the vehicle itself. You get responses back, letting you know whether the API call is successful. There's a lot of return values that you'll get in terms of what the platform is capable of, what buttons are available, etc. We have a lot of documentation. We encourage you to look at it. But the easiest and fastest way is going to be building our sample applications and connecting that to see how the sample applications run. There are also asynchronous notifications that you get. Those are for things like button presses or voice commands. And again, we can walk you through that. The team's here to effectively help you. This is a really confusing diagram. You don't really have to worry about it, but it is just effectively talks about what happens when you open up when you create your object, your sync proxy object, what the life cycle of that object is. This is our sync proxy object expert. It looks really confusing. It's really simple. Liz can
Hello app link if you get it.
Yeah. So when you get the SDK, just build hello app link. It's really simple and easy. I already talked about some of the functions, but the function show will write to the display. Speak will use the text-to-speech engine on the head unit. Alert will throw up like a little pop-up in the vehicle. There's a couple options whether you want to put a sound, whether you want it to have text-to-speech or not. Subscribing to buttons will give you access to some of the buttons that are available in the vehicle, presets, seat forward, seat back, play pause, all of that is available and inside the API itself. Add command, this is the big one. This is really where add command is how you add your voice commands, and it's how you add your menu structure. So when you add a command, you're effectively adding the string phrases that you want Sync to recognize for you. So if you want a voice command that says, "Hey, tell me today's weather," you give it the string, "Tell me today's weather," and that will effectively, when that's spoken, your app will get a notification back that says this was spoken. It's important to note that the voice recognition is all grammar based, so you have to tell Sync what you want it to recognize. So if you're going to create, if you want to create like a weather application, believe it or not, it's one of the things that we don't have but our consumers ask for the most. If you want to, provide a list of cities, you can do that. You can get, you literally add like 5-day forecasts or 7-day forecasts as phrases that Sync recognizes for you. There is also, we have this concept in Sync today. It's called Create Choice Set and Perform Interaction. Create Choice Set is like a list of usable choices that you want Sync to recognize for you. So it can be as simple as yes, no. In some of our applications like iHeartRadio, they have 1,500 radio stations across the country. Their choice sets are 1,500 different city and state names. So they provide that to Sync. So when you say the name of a city, that is where the choice sets come in. And Perform Interaction is literally the question you ask. You attach your choice set to it. So on the example I gave here, let's say you want to create an app that was going to provide you a restaurant. I think I used the examples of like restaurants. Your choice set would be like the words Italian, Asian, American, sushi, whatever it is. And then your Perform Interaction is what Sync says, choose a restaurant type, meaning then you attach your choice set and it'll be listening to those particular words for you. This is a map. It's in the documentation. It tells you when and where you can use certain APIs depending on the state of your Sync proxy object. And so you'll see most everything is available to you in full, and that's why you want the user to select your application inside the vehicle. Everything else, when you first connect your app to Sync, you'll be in the none state, which is all the way on the right. And you see you can't do anything in the none state. So that's where the opt-in comes in. The user selects your application inside the car and pushes you into full or background unlimited. This is one of the test apps that you'll have inside the SDK. You'll have the ability to run every single function that Sync can actually perform. This is an example of the alert function. So you'll see that there's 2 lines of text, there's some text-to-speech, and then a duration of the alerts, and a Boolean value if you want to play like the standard tone that Sync plays during an alert. So that's available to you. And so when you build this, you'll have access to everything effectively that's in the SDK. In terms of winning the prize, the idea here is to act with the driver in mind. We are piloting a vehicle down the highway at 70 miles per hour. We don't want people to pick up their phone. So the idea is to make the drive more convenient, productive, and entertaining. And focusing on using voice and making it simple is actually pretty key. So that's some of the things that we're looking for from applications as you guys hack and start to vet out your ideas of things that would be cool inside the vehicle. This is kind of what we're looking for. The winning team of the Developer Challenge will get an opportunity to launch their app as a sync-enabled version into production, receive a VIP trip to CES 2013, where you'll get to demonstrate and display your application, hang out with the Ford team. If you want an idea of how that experience went, Tad and Danny from Roximity are back here. They can give you a really good idea of how that went for them. Did you guys have fun? Yeah, they're nodding their heads saying yes, they had fun. And it's a great launching opportunity for your application. Obviously, CES, one of the largest trade shows in the world, global audience, and some really cool opportunities there. And then best use of voice commands for an app today is also going to win a bonus prize, $1,000 from Nuance. So that's also a little fun tidbit there. Yes.
Do you guys use Nuance?
I'm sorry?
Is Sync using Nuance?
Yes. So the question was, is Sync using Nuance? The answer is yes. We have an embedded voice recognition engine on the head unit, and so the microphone input goes directly to our speech engine, which is provided by Nuance.
It's embedded. Doesn't go out.
It's embedded. Yeah. We have seen and we have done hacks internally. If you want to use an off-board engine that uses, for example, the phone's microphone, we can't get you audio from the microphone on our system. But if you want to develop a hack with off-board voice and then just use the APIs to display things in the vehicle, that's perfectly cool too. So if you want to do that, we're hoping eventually to give you access to freeform microphone audio. It's not in today's SDK, but hopefully in the near future.
Do you know if Nuance has an API or an SDK to do that?
They do have an API. I believe there's a key and you have to sign up for it, but they do have an API. You can also use Google's API as well to get offboard voice search, at least on Android. Let's see here. That was it. So again, I think once you guys actually build, our API works a lot differently than a typical API. There's no web server that you can just ping. The actual server is our vehicle, so you really need to connect to it and actually exercise the APIs against it. But that's different and that's kind of fun and cool, and we think that's exciting. Again, the team is here to help you guys with your hacks, and as you guys work through your ideas, we can help you, and then as well as get you guys up and running on these TDKs, so you can see how your app will function inside of the vehicle. With that, I know that was a lot of data and maybe not as deep as some of you guys wanted to get, but it's much easier to just get you the code and have you build and use the sample apps to move forward. So with that, are there any questions that we can help answer for people? It was simple and easy, I guess. All right, cool. Yes?
Is there any lag time? How long does it take when you add a command? Does it instantly recognize that set of commands?
It depends on how many you're sending. So you can send a choice set, for example, of 100 commands, and have that ready to be recognized in under a second. But if you send multiple successive single commands and using the add command API, the platform is going to wait until you're done sending those to process them all at once. So if you want a lot of voice, we recommend using choice sets, because those process a lot faster. But the caveat there, you need to go down a level, meaning you need something to trigger that full interaction. But yeah, no, it's very quick in terms of time to send.